So,
I
you
hear
know,
you.
got to take what I can get.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been having a hard time fitting in gym time lately. I've been slacking too.
Sorry, you're beautiful as you are.
Well, thank you, JB, too.
You're welcome. And that's the announcement, guys. No, just kidding.
That's so yes, yeah, JB is beautiful. Thank you for your time.
I'm gonna get
We got Larry, Spaz is here, Salt and Pepper.
Hey guys, Day here.
Hey, so we're just waiting a little bit for people to shuffle in. If anybody has any questions, we can start with that. I think that's a good place to start. And remember, if your microphone doesn't work, you can always just type it into chat. I will do my best to keep an eye on that. Dooble's asks, at Uncle Fred, give us your analysis on Soul. Yeah, so I mean, on the last couple of weeks, we've seen a big turnaround. Um, if you remember, in June, things were at the bottom of the barrel. We had basically zero retail activity. If you checked out, some of the analysts like Cohen, basically, you can see that there was no activity in retail. We were talking about the worst last year, even maybe in 2022, going back to the very bottom of the bear, in that early stages of this market cycle kind of level of interest. I think it's clear that while people were just exhausted of the scams, obviously we had the presidential meme coins and the whole sort of influencer grift that went on for a while. But that's begun to fade into the background a bit. Um, people are aware of the 4-year market cycle theory. It is without a doubt the most um, prevalent theory within the crypto ecosystem, and markets have a way of following theories. They kind of almost are self-realizing. And I think we're starting to see that action now. In the last few weeks, we've seen whales have begun to wake up a bit. They have been buying into coins. Um, they have been, switching projects because a lot of them are lining up for what they believe to be very, very strong retail fall, early winter season. So that's really, really good. So you're probably running out of time if you're looking at getting into reading crypto. Probably now is the time to do it. There are still some analysts that do believe that Bitcoin altcoin pairs are going down to their range lows. That analyst shows that there would still be a little bit further to drop if that were the case. But that may not be the case. If you guys have followed sort of how altcoins work, usually at this point in the market cycle, they are quite strong. So this has been an unusual market cycle in that respect. We've seen Bitcoin take off, and we've seen the altcoins underperform. If you go onto Hegecoin Reddit, there is a FAQ wiki link on the right side of the screen. Click that and go into. There's a link there. Let me get the name of that, and I will put that in the chat. It's all the kind of relevant graphs you need to follow. They're all basically going to give you information on what retail is doing, and that's the most important thing for hedge. Whether or not we get that rush of retail, and it's predictable to an extent, so you can start to see when it moves, and that's the point when you might want to take final positions, your biggest DCAs in preparation for the return of retail, if that's a bet you think will happen. So let me get that link for you. And then we will move on to hedge news. There it is, critical market charts, and I will post it right now into headquarters. So bookmark those links, keep an eye on them. I put them as best I can from the most important to least. The altcoin dominance one in particular will tell you basically how active retail is. Some people have their own private charts, but altcoin dominance is like the freely available, one of the best ones you can check. I'm also a big subscriber to the idea of liquidity in the markets. So the one above that, the global monetary supply, usually is a good indicator how strong financial markets in general are. If you have a lot of that, so if you go up to where the little mountains are on that link, you want a big green mountain because that's usually a sign that people are buying up stocks, and then that generates the hype. People buy crypto, all coins take off, you profit. It's that simple. So that's my thinking there. So let's recap a little bit on how Hedge is, what we've been doing in the project. So we had a voice chat a couple weeks ago. It was a bit late because that's when I was available, but I know a lot of our European members sleeping. So just quickly recap on that. We had our Vegas campaign. The JB, I believe that's still ongoing. I think there's a couple more weeks to that, or is that over?
It should be one more week.
One more
This will
week.
be the
Yeah.
last weekend.
So we had 10,000 branded maps. The guy running it is a hedge investor. He basically cheated all his other coins for hedge. So he's a big believer. He's been a great guy. They've been basically on the streets of Vegas, so they hand out maps to people, and it has our branding and information how to get into Hegecoin on that branding. So that's been great. I love anything real world. We've been running deck screener ads. So I know a lot of people are not even aware. They just kind of get on deck screener and they're not aware that a lot of the projects that show at the top are essentially artificially pumped. It's a great little kind of, I don't want to call it scam, but a business opportunity for DEX. That's what they do. People don't know. And so we've been taking advantage of that, particularly when the last pump, we did that. So that was great. We did recently finish our press release package. So that was 50 plus outlets. These are all like mainstream financial news and crypto news outlets where we posted information about how, what Hedge is, what we're doing, and how meme coins are still relevant in the market today. Next up is our sticker competition. Now the sticker competition is still ongoing. It's going on till I believe the end of August. You can pick those up either through eBay. There's a direct link. I can post it in the chat a little bit later, so remind me of that. You can also get them from the website. The website is running a discount right now, so 50% off the stickers. There's a little code. I will post that into the chat right now. So if you use that code and get 50% off the stickers, so that basically, like one of the hardest things with stickers is getting that shipping, right? Because that's where the cost is. Essentially, the stickers are like what, $1, but shipping. So we're trying to keep that price down so you guys get your hands on it. We're also considering looking at the stickers and seeing if we can basically provide maybe a new set of stickers that have more information about what Hedge is, call to action, just kind of, tell retail like why would I scan this, or why would I go to hedgecoin.com. I think there are other projects who have done it a bit better, so that's an area where we can improve on. So that's something we may be doing. So again, there's that sticker code. So it's for everybody. There's no usage limits. You can't combine it with other discounts, and it's active basically in perpetuity as far as I'm aware. Okay, we also have the Crypto Twits competition. I think Ollie has that ongoing again. They've started it up. The last one I believe was $250 USD in cash equivalent prizes for Hedge. We have X-Raid competition that ended recently. We will be doing that again. We're always working on it to find ways where we can convert people who join us for that into actual Hedge holding members. We think that's important. So we're always in the process of tuning that so that people aren't just raiding Hedge with the basically spam posts and leaving. That definitely a poor use of resources. So we're always trying to figure out how do we convert more, how do we get more people engaged, and doing this in a way that benefits the project. Summer merch drop. So recently we announced the website and we've got some more merch. Ash is amazing with this. He's always doing more to create, more content for the merch store. So we recently dropped some more shirts and other merch. The plushies are available. I think GB has something like 100 plus plushies laying around. So get your plushies. It helps the project. It contributes to the marketing budget for Hedge. We also listed on Bitroo, and we are going to be doing some more stuff. So I think the next thing I'd like to talk about is the League of Hegends. Dave, do you want to take it from here on that? Yep.
Oh, good.
I'm just gonna post the announcement here. 1 second.
While we're waiting for him, I'll say I got 93 plushies in stock. They're going to be sent to the warehouse soon. And then another 160 being shipped. So, they'll be limited, but a solid amount. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Right, so I just post the announcement. Well, hello everybody. This is actually my first video chat that I'm doing with Hedge. I've been in Hedge since back in October. So it's nice to finally get to talk to you all. So I'm gonna
Great to hear you.
just talk a little bit about this new thing that we just released, which is called League of Hegends. And so basically we in the team felt that we wanted some way to show our appreciation for the Hedge community, both for everybody on the team, because everybody on the team are volunteers, just like everybody else in the community, and nobody's getting paid, and everybody's just basically working for their own bags. And we have some amazing people on the team, and we also have amazing people in our whale chat, and of course in our wider community we also have a lot of amazing people who put in a lot of work into Hedge, and we want to recognize that from the team. So we came up with this idea of a League of Hegends, and what it is a new page on our website that's up now. You can find it in the menu. You can click on it and go to it. It's also posted in the announcements channel. So what is it? Well, it's just it's a league of Hegends, right? So the team will every few weeks or so we will select people from the entire community that we think are worthy of extra recognition and respect for all the work they've put in to Hedge. And then we will create a custom artwork for them that we will put on this page, along with a short description of why we think they should have a spot in the League of Hegends. So what this will create over time is like an ever-growing monument to all the amazing people that have helped create Hedge and helped build it to what it is today. And so it's just our way of showing appreciation to the community. And starting out, we have selected three people, three Hegends, into this League of Hegends. They are Flo and Ryan and Vector. So if you go to the website now, you will see them displayed there with their custom artwork, and you can read why we think they are worthy of being in the League of Hegends. And of course, there are so many more people in the community that we want to put in there, but we have to start somewhere, and now we'll keep on adding people in there as we see fit. Basically, we don't have a rough timeline or schedule, but every couple of weeks we will select new people into the league.
So my question for you is: everybody gets their own custom artwork. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yes. So
who are we paying for that? Are we paying a professional artist? This is art that's not in my purview, so I'm interested in this.
Yeah, actually, I don't know too much about that because that has been Ollie's thing. It's he who has done all the artwork stuff. We have an artist. I don't know his name actually.
I got you. Question for you.
Yes.
Let's say you're a hard hedge worker and you've been doing all this work. The team has selected you for the next League of Hegend. Is there a way to basically communicate what you'd like in that artwork? Could you maybe would it be possible for Ollie to contact you and say, "Hey, look, we're thinking of announcing you as the next one. What would you like to be presented as?"
Yeah, that's a good question. We haven't really decided on that. I think for now we have just gone ahead and done the artwork, but that's might be something we want to explore going forward. We haven't really talked about it that much.
Right. But these three absolutely deserve it. I know Flo is a super hard worker when it comes to Reddit. He's always out there with some bullish announcement. So he's hyping us up. I think even the VC thing went out twice. I was about to post and I realized Flo already had done it. So special thanks to him. Ryan with his really cool... So we haven't even talked about this yet, but Ryan is working on a board. Actually, I probably could share that in the chat. I'll do that in a few minutes. Where it's like one of those spin wheels, and it's going to be this questionnaire type thing where people have to answer a series of questions, and if they correctly do so, they will win hedge merch. And this is going to be done in a public location. It's all going to be filmed, and we're going to spread it around all across the interwebs. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's a great idea. Anything that's like on the street is really amazing. So shout out to Ryan MC for this really awesome creative street idea.
Right, yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say, I think, about the League of Hegends. If anybody has any questions or initial reactions, I'd be happy to talk more about it.
So we do want to note this kind of a work. I mean, it's obviously very well done. But we're going to continue to work on more, refine it more, come up with new ideas for it. But it is also, we do these raid competitions. We get 30 people that fly in, win $10, eat it right away. But then we have people like Flo and Brian, right? Tons of other people that are constantly working for the bags, competition or no competition, right? So, this is the way for us to show our public appreciation. But going forward, we're going to do our best to also come up with other rewards in time. That being said, we do hope that just getting the appreciation from the team and being publicly called out as a Hegend, and getting your personal artwork, getting your personal bio, forever being immortalized on online, it's a proper reward enough for you. And also as you go on, sorry if you hear wind outside, as you go on working for your bag, and it doubles, triples, quadruples, 10 times, 20 times, that is the reward in itself. A lot of the raiders come in, they get $10, but for you guys, you know, if you're here working all the time, you're not getting $10, you're going to get thousands, or for some of you, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. So, you know, that is the true reward here. And I would have hoped that some of those raiders would stay and just see their $50 bags become $5,000 bags. But alas, you know, crypto is not the space for patience. Anyway,
Absolutely. And I think this is one of the unique things about Hedge, really. We have a special mission that other projects really don't have. A lot of them are very short term. Most of the space basically in and out. But Hedge is that long term meme coin project. And there's only a handful of those, and there only ever will be a handful. So we can communicate that better. I think that's what we want to do. So rewarding people is great, because that's what it's about. It's you guys, really, the community. How strong it is how much your bags are going to grow, basically. Even think about just the last 1 month since we were at the bottom of retail in the summer, which was what, 3.7 million. We're back up to 8. So it's doubled. Essentially, if you got it, and then your bag has doubled since. So there will be some people who have gotten that opportunity. But just think of what will happen if we get a strong retail market back. We see that altcoin dominance shift back to altcoins, and we're back to 50 million market cap, maybe even 100 million market cap. You guys are gonna have money.
says 250.
It did.
I love ChatGPT. ChatGPT was like, buy this shit. It's going to 250. I was like, all right, chat. Got you. I do think retail is on its way. It seems to me what basically happened. The U.S. got a new administration. Things can always be wonky in the beginning. This just happened to coincide. You know, he released his own coin, you know, Trump. And the new administration had a bunch of different economic policies that kind of jumbled up the crypto market a bit. We've seen it slow down. A lot of people predicted this would happen. We've seen the policies kind of slow down. And also, we've seen people ignore the noise, you know, so to say. You know, tariff this, tariff that. We've seen people kind of like price it in, basically, mentally.
Yep.
Because when it comes to crypto, you know, like the price of, I don't know, aluminum is not like affecting how the average retailer buys Bitcoin, right? Or a meme coin, right? The vast majority of people, you know, it's going to affect companies a lot and be passed on, but for the average person, it's not going to affect their gambling money per se, right? A lot of these people have a separate crypto bag that they're willing to lose. Most, not all. There's a lot of people that lose what they cannot. But for a lot of these people, they're able to separate that from what they want to invest. Right? So I think this kind of talk, this kind of noise, the economic situation is kind of priced in on how people are approaching crypto now. Great. Now there's a lawnmower approaching. I'll mute.
Yep.
Anyway,
I think we're losing JB here. He's the wind is getting in the way. But I totally agree with him. I think the market has been actually really, really, really strong considering some of these economic policies. Inflation has not gone up in the way some analysts had thought it would. It has a little bit, but very little. The market there was a famous article just a couple weeks ago in The Economist talking about how it had the stock market has dodged essentially every piece of bad news this year. You know, people are looking at market and just kind of shrugging off a lot of the bad news. Bitcoin continues to grow, so we've had a lot of very positive news. The potential for retail to return is definitely there. We've seen that in the last few weeks. Okay, so moving on, let's talk a little bit about the art side of things. So now with the news of the market getting better and retail beginning to come back in a small way, we're going to be getting back into art creation in a bigger way than we've had in the last few months. So after the events of the early part of the year when retail began to drop, we scaled back some of our art creation because it is expensive. We are paying professional artists to make this art. So we want to make sure that the budget is available so that we can use it best when the market is right for that. And that applies to everything from getting the CEXs to deck screener ads. So the next stage we want to do is we're looking at improving the lore story side of things, and scaling up our video animations. So we have a ton of static art. We have something like 700, 800 professionally created images for Hedge. That's bigger than most projects, period, let alone crypto. So we have tons of that. A lot of it even hasn't been used yet on our X account. So we want to make sure that we are developing the story and video work, because we know how important that is for trending on TikTok and, you know, developing Hedge as a brand. So we partnered with a animation firm called Curve Animations. They've done work on Pengu and Chill Guy and other projects. They are a proper animation studio. They do storyboarding. You know, this isn't just some guy out of his basement. They have a team of people. They even, if you go onto their X account, you'll see that they even have like the whole process and how they do the coloration, the storyboards, blocking out everything. It's really professional stuff. So we're spending a significant amount of money on them over the next few months. We want to do a deal with them for 20 animations. That's the plan. We're going to space it out, take best advantage of that, and go from there. So more of the story will be shown in this. So we are working on developing the characters more, giving them more personality, and essentially, you know, making Hedge more a brand. Because if Hedge wants to grow, I've been saying this for a long time, but if Hedge wants to be a multi-cycle coin, it will need a proper set of characters with their own story, just like you'd find with any property where people are fans of the characters themselves. So that's what we're gonna do. So JB, me, Nick, a few others, Joe, we're all in the art area, and we are cooking on that front. So more news to come as it's available. The other thing that we are beginning the process on is potentially a comic for Hedge. This is a great place for building the story further, especially because with like TikTok, you know, these are 8, 10-second, 15-second videos, and it's not much you can do with that. But we are working with Elena. She's our resident professional artist right now, and she is going to be doing a 24-panel comic for Hedge. We are also in the process of looking up a professional story artist for that as well. So we want to make sure that like this is all done. It's not just, you know, offhand, cheap, and lazy. We want to make sure it's done right, like a proper brand would. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys. Covered basically everything. Nick, I think you're here. You were last time I looked. Nope, is he gone? I think he had something for us, but I think he's here right now. JB, are you still around?
Yeah, I am. I might be panting, but I'm around.
That's okay. Work on those biceps. I think that's everything I had for you guys. Reddit is another area where we probably will be scaling up, and we're looking at options. We've had contests for like last year, but it's difficult to get people motivated for contests. And with retail down, it's tough to get that. So we're looking at options. We definitely want to expand the Reddit presence. Reddit built the community, so it's a big factor why Hedge reached 50 million market cap, and we want to bring that back.
Yeah, I'll say regarding Reddit, um, you know, I know, you know, we as a team know that retail is, you know, kind of stepped away. They're probably still 80% out, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, even though they're out, we do see Reddit statistics that say they're not really in yet. But we do also see statistics that those numbers are going up, right? We've seen it also in the app stores, Coinbase being downloaded more. And so, you know, it's hard to get motivated to do Reddit when people aren't blasting your stuff left and right. You're not getting 40 comments and people aren't pumped about it. But we do also have to be there in preparation for when they do return, right? Might not be there, but they're looking, right? And more are going to start to look in the coming weeks as Solana pumps, Bitcoin pumps, altcoins pump in general, and then, you know, memes like Fartcoin, you know, start to move up to 2.5 billion again, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're going to come back. When they go on Reddit, we want to make sure we have when we go on Reddit, we want to make sure the presence already there, right? We want to be there, not catch up. Playing catch up is what has hurt us in the past. I feel the 2 good run-ups we had, we went hard on Reddit at just the right time. People came back, and it really aligned perfectly. So we do want to start picking up now. We're going to try to get both combination of like shorter Reddit posts out and longer ones. Shorter ones that might inform people about liquidity and boring stuff for new people that might be scared about investing in meme coins. And then other ones, longer, maybe TA based, more specific about the project, deeper into it. Try to cover all our bases so that when they see our name, they recognize it, they feel comfortable throwing whatever they want in and holding it, right? As for the animations, Chris said, we have 20. Some of those will be divided into story and lore. Others will be original animations that will try to be shorter and more viral for like TikTok, right? So it's going to be 2 separate piles, story, lore, TikTok, which will still be kind of lore-ish in a way. It's still going to have development of the characters, but just more for comedic effect to go viral. And then there's even kind of a third smaller pile in which we're going to do what we did previously, which is catch on to viral TikTok trends, and then put our own spin on it and put those out. We did have a couple videos that went to 1 million, so we do want to do that again in preparation again for when retail comes back, because we're going to see those numbers come back. If anyone wants to see the animation that the sample that the studio did for us, all we did was give them 2 photos, and then they did it for us. And we think it's fantastic for the reference photos that we gave them. So,
just to clarify on that, JB, I didn't actually give them the reference photos. They found them themselves. They sourced them from our art. I basically linked them to the meme folder, and I guess he looked for a full body hedge, and that was the first thing he pulled up. So.
So that's why. Okay, I was gonna explain that when I sent it, but basically it's like Hegina is the perfect modern Hegina that we have, and then the hedge is kind of like the shorter, chubbier one that we have used kind of like early days. So it's like this kind of funny mismatch. And then they sent the reference photos, and I was like, who sent these? I'm like, this is a really old hedge. I'm like, we don't use that, but yeah, it turns out they found it in a folder and used it. But based on the photos that they used, it is like spot on. So that's why we're kind of like going all in with the studio. They've worked with massive coins before. So we find it worth it, especially for how important we find it is, these like story and lore things as like a brand, right? So we find it kind of it's an important investment when our pitch, basically is we're a brand, right? We're going to last multi-cycle. We want to survive the bear. We want to come out stronger, and we're going to come out more recognizable when, it rebounds and who knows, 2027, 28, I'm getting myself, but you feel me.
Yeah, and follow up on
all.
that. Yeah, sure. Thank you, JB. Yeah, that's great. And to follow up on that, so some people who haven't been here in the past, maybe you joined in late November, early December, and you weren't here for last summer. JB touched on this earlier, essentially how this goes down. So summer is usually a lull period, and we've seen that as well. What will first happen is you'll end up with Bitcoin growing. So we've seen that again, and it's what happened last year. Then usually what begins is you see that uptick. If you're really following things closely, you'll see the numbers on subreddits increase. I have access to that information on the moderator team for our Reddit. There's a website you can go to. I will link it into the headquarters chat. If you sign up for free, there's like a free account you can get. It will let you actually plug in a subreddit, so you could put in like r/meme coins, and it will show you daily, even hourly activity. So you can actually figure out when retail is beginning to pump, and it will always show up first with socials before it shows up in market caps and coins. So for people who are really like following things, you can actually use this method to profit. It's not 100% reliable, but it's definitely one of the best indicators. So you'll have that. You have the big ones pump like Bitcoin. And then usually what happens, and this is what happened last year, is you're going to get a lot of the initial people who invested in Hedge, some of the whales, they'll start moving around. They'll join Hedge or they'll leave Hedge. There'll be a little bit of a pump, maybe just 1 or 2 million market cap on a day, and you'll get some of these really old school whales that leave. And new people will start to trickle in at the bottom. And this will go on for a while. It'll be really frustrating. If you're following it day by day, it seems really frustrating. But what will happen eventually is the buyer, the will outweigh the better. And that's when the big pump happened last year. And right before that happens, you will start activity in the market. You'll get like these unknown coins will just pump into the tens of millions out of nowhere. You'll get some of the altcoins like ETH and others will begin to grow in big ways. So you'll see the signs in limited ways in other projects, and that's usually a really, really good indicator that action is about to happen in retail. So keep an eye on those things. If you're really into following all this, those signs, when you see them, that's really good.
Yeah, I have some comments on the market as well, if you'd like to hear.
Yeah. Go for it.
So basically, I'm super bullish. Like, it's I don't look so much on those kind of statistics and stuff and macro stuff that Chris is talking about. I'm more just a pure chart guy, so I just look at the charts, and right now the charts look really, really good to me, and I think the big alt season has started. I've called it. So yeah, I'm super bullish. With looking at charts, like the situation can always change, and then you will have to, of course, adapt to that and change your view. But right now, I think it looks super bullish. Like Bitcoin just broke out from the 110 level, the resistance, which has been holding it back for quite a long time, and it clearly broke out. We went all the way up to like 123-ish, and now it's been consolidating a little bit, but that was a proper breakout, and just applying kind of standard technical analysis patterns that I use, the price target for Bitcoin is now 142K. That's of course not a guarantee. It's all about probabilities when you do TA. But it's more likely than not, just given statistics, that Bitcoin will go to 142K than not right now. So,
Yep.
like, just looking at the charts, just ignoring everything else, just ignoring every tariff stuff, all the stuff around like Trump wanting to fire Powell, which he's not going to do, but there's been a lot of drama around that, and like all that stuff. Just ignoring all of that and just looking at the chart, which is what I prefer to do. It looks great. Like there's no reason to doubt it right now. So that's my view.
I completely agree with Day. If you look at something like the Bitcoin rainbow chart and you plot out essentially where the high should be for this market cycle, I kind of already suspected, even as early as December, around 140 was about where this should top at. But that, again, like Day says, this is all about probabilities.
Right,
the market
and so
will determine what that is, and it could still surprise us.
sorry, yeah, right. So that's my conservative price target, just based on a TA pattern. Eventually, I would be surprised if it didn't go higher with all the bullish fundamental news lately, mostly relating to the regulation in the U.S. coming along very nicely.
Yeah.
And so
Now,
eventually,
most of that regulation Day, isn't that about stable coins? I think that's where the administration is focusing its attention.
Yes, I would agree, but I think stable coins are super important, and it's definitely it's going to be one of the big things. But it's for me, it's more the entirety of the SEC getting new leadership that is clearly positive to getting better crypto regulation and getting it fast, and also
Mm-hmm.
now the House passing the bills last week with a clear majority and with a lot of support from the Democrats as well. That's tells me that there is broad support for better crypto regulation in the U.S., and that will open the door to all the big institutions, and that's super fundamentally bullish to me. So that coupled with the charts looking really good, that tells me that the top is probably higher than 142K. I don't want to put out like any price predictions because it tends to kind of mess with your head if you have like a
Yep.
set number. It's better to just follow it day by day. And right now, as I said, my price target is 142. But that's just like I'm not going to sell when we get there. I just expect that we will probably go there, but we can also go a lot higher.
Yeah, and here's the thing that people should remember. Bitcoin itself is usually a lagging indicator for altcoins. So when Bitcoin tops out, usually the meme coin altcoin market comes after. It's not usually right. Like that day is going to be the top of the altcoin market. It may not exactly line up.
Yeah, that's how it's been in the past. Bitcoin has topped out first, and then we get a second final rally, and altcoins a real blow off top, the real euphoria. That's how it's been in the past. So we could probably assume that should be our base, like our that should be our base case right now, if you ask me.
Agreed. I also looked at Hegecoin's chart, and I did a analysis of when our tops were in the past and how high they went, and I plotted that line out. Admittedly, using ChatGPT for some of this, but I came out to a 69 million market cap as a very, very like low end conservative number as well for the next one. But that's again, these are just numbers following past trends, which may not be indicative of future trends. I think a lot of this again will depend on how strong retail is and how active we are as a community in growing the project. Meme coins are extremely volatile in that sense, so you can't necessarily use these kind of predictions for meme coin. Bitcoin is a bit easier, I think, because it's more of a mature asset, so it follows a more predictable pattern than something like a microcap would ever do.
Yeah, it's a lot less volatile, of course. Like Bitcoin is not gonna put in a 10x overnight. Like it's just
Yeah,
not
yeah,
possible
absolutely.
because it's so big, and there are so many institutions that are in now, and they kind of act as to suppress volatility. So yeah, I totally agree.
I think ultimately how strong retail returns will probably be down to, again, how bullish the market feels. And a lot of that will be monetary, essentially, how much liquidity there is in the market. This market cycle is unusual in that respect. If you look at the 2018 and 2021 market tops, there's a significant um, liquidity. It doesn't necessarily mean the interest rates were particularly low for the 2018 one. They actually raised interest rates prior to the top, but there was still a lot of global liquidity. It was quite a mountain actually that built up even after the interest rates were increased. So we don't have that at the moment. It is growing. We are starting to get the first signs of those hills. If you look at that chart I have linked, so that is a unknown juice in this market cycle. We haven't seen it before in the past major pumps. So I think if we can get more of that, we can get a stronger top. One other thing about these tops, usually now that Bitcoin, if you've noticed, when Bitcoin first had its market cycle tops way back in 2014 and beyond, even, they were very short term. because at the time Bitcoin was basically a small cap coin. So the top happened and it was gone. But if you look at each cycle afterward, Bitcoin became more of a hill rather than a mountain. Like in terms of you had more room in which to make decisions. So just remember, keep in mind, guys, if you are short-term investors, this is your choice if you are or not. But if you are, that altcoins tend to act quicker than Bitcoin. So their tops is very short window essentially. So just keep that in mind if that's your choice. Ultimately, if you stay or if you sell, that's a decision only you guys can make. I can't really recommend that, but just keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's impossible, of course, to know how this cycle will play out. I
Yep.
think it's reasonable to assume that it will be similar to past cycles, because why wouldn't it be? I mean, it's usually how things are, but it will also be different in some ways. So it will not be exactly the same, just like the prior cycles have not been exactly the same. 2017 was
Exactly.
quite different from 2021. In 2017, we had a much slower, much more gradual build up that eventually went much more parabolic
Yep.
towards the blow off top. Whereas in 2021, it was faster, but then it didn't really
It didn't have a parabolic blow off top.
it didn't
Yeah.
really have that time to build up the proper momentum. So it kind of just shot up in the early part of 2021. I think the top was in April or May, because it ran up super fast towards that, but then it just couldn't sustain it. So then we got this dip over summer, and then we got a second top in the fall. This
I
time,
was almost thrown off last
yeah,
because I expected a 2018 cycle where we had a parabolic, almost like moon rocket at the top, but in reality, we had this summer dip, which I expected to some degree. I know that was different from 2018, but it was reasonable to predict second top would occur. It did, but it was like almost a plateau. It just kind of rounded out the top versus like 2018 where it exploded up at the top.
yeah, it was much more obvious in 2017 than in
Yeah,
2021. I didn't catch the top at all in 2021.
me neither. I was selling Bitcoin and Ethereum in January.
So it's not going to be like it was in the past cycle, but it's also going to be somehow similar, probably. And I think there will be like one or two big narratives that will build from now and towards the end of the year, maybe into next year even, like it has been in previous cycles. So in 2017, probably not that many of you were here in crypto back then, but then it was ICOs that were super hyped, and in the end, of course, it got everybody wrecked. And then in
I remember that.
and then in 2021, it was a lot of NFTs, right? A few meme coins, a little bit of gaming, but NFTs was big, and also a lot of like alt L1s like Solana, Cardano, etc. This
Remind me, Day, in the 2017 run up, and this has happened for some of these market cycles. You have something like the ICOs, initial public offerings, this kind of stuff, partnerships with businesses. I remember that was very popular. But if I recall, the way that turned out is that most of these projects that announced partnerships with businesses, they weren't real partnerships, and they didn't really do anything. It didn't mainstream utility the way they had all kind of marketed, and I think that was really disappointing to most investors.
Yeah, it was basically people were putting out white papers and having token sales, and just there wasn't really any like they basically just sold tokens to investors and just took the money straight up. There was no really like concept of these gradual unlock schedules and so on. It was basically like you put out a white paper, you put out an initial coin offering, people buy into it, and you get a shitload of money. and a lot of these projects also kept their treasuries in ETH. So when
Yep.
everything came crashing down, they had to sell off their ETH, of course, and that completely tanked ETH. So yeah, a lot of people got wrecked. And this time it will probably be something similar, in the sense that there will be like one big narrative that gets everybody super excited, and then in the end everybody will get wrecked just like before. And I think it's going to be stable coins, and I think it's going to be this trend we're seeing with corporate treasuries adding Bitcoin, but now also like Ethereum and other altcoins to their company balance sheets. I think that's going to
Yep.
be the big thing that drives this bull market.
So So for those not familiar with what Dave's talking about, basically what companies have started to do, and this started with one company essentially called MicroStrategy. They're just called Strategy now. I think they rebranded themselves. And what he did, I think it's Michael Saylor is the name. He decided to start buying up Bitcoin in order to boost confidence in the company and to grow it. Became kind of like their way of holding Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation in the future. This strategy proved to be extremely lucrative for MicroStrategy. The company became valued in the billions, and the rest is history. So a lot of other companies have decided that this is the way to do things in order to grow their stock price. And the risk is that the people who are buying into these companies, they're not actually buying Bitcoin. They're not holding Bitcoin. They're essentially holding stock in the company with the anticipation that they're buying Bitcoin. Um, and there's more to it than that. It's a little more detailed. They can probably give you more information on that. But essentially, a lot of companies have started to do this. And it's really questionable whether or not these other companies have anything else going for them anymore, other than the fact that they are all in on buying Bitcoin. And a big problem with this is if a company, that's all they really are known for now, that's all they really can offer the public. What happens when the next bear market comes about? Will these investors want to sit through the next 2 or 3 years of a bear market or sideways market environment with a stock that has gone way down? Many investors have probably never seen the kind of volatility that exists in the space when it comes to stocks. So I can definitely see this becoming kind of a bubble that will pop. So I totally agree with Day when he says that. And make no mistake, there will be a bear market, and we have not been through a bear market with Hedge yet.
Yeah, yeah. It's I mean, obviously this is just me speculating, but that's what I see right now. It's these like you explained, these companies buying Bitcoin, buying Ethereum, buying Solana, buying other altcoins, by issuing stocks and other kinds of loans. And people, I think, maybe will say, like, because they're companies, they have good balance sheets, blah blah blah, it will be different this time, but it's usually not different, right?
Mm-hmm. At the same time, one or two of those firms will emerge through the other side. So there will be at some point a bear market. It will last a few years, as it always does, and then everything grows again. This has been like clockwork now, and a lot of people basically believe in strategy that it doesn't really matter anymore if there's bears or if there's bulls. They just keep buying because they know in 3 years' time, in 7 years' time, whatever it is, there'll be an all-time high. Bitcoin will be worth $1 million in 2030, and the rest is history. It won't matter anything in between. And you could argue the same thing is possible even with meme coins. So let's say your strategy is with hedges to be long-term. That's a bold strategy. Some will do it, and you can look at the past and say, well, Bitcoin, they could buy through even a bull market in 2014, and today they're a multimillionaire. And that will happen for some memes. It is bound to happen. Now, most memes in this space aren't long-term projects, as you know. Even the bigger ones, if you go back to say the 2018 bull run, there was a whole bunch. There were memes back then. There weren't many. There's maybe a handful of them. Most of them are gone today. Simply the projects died. So that is a definitely a risk that you take getting involved in, especially the meme coin side of things. But there will be some projects which will be phenomenally profitable, absurdly profitable in the way Bitcoin was for those early investors. It will happen. Um, so that is a bet some people will take with Hedge.
And maybe to circle back here and to the community part that you were talking about before, Chris, and the key to surviving long term for a meme coin especially is it's all about community, right?
Agree.
And it's all about community, both surviving a bear market coming, but also to do really well in the bull market that's hopefully ahead of us. That's also all about community, and that's what I will be focusing on going forward. Just keep coming up with ways to make our community stronger, to make it more fun, to make it a better community, and that's what I will focus on.
Yep, absolutely. This project lives or dies by its community. If the team and you guys are still working here, even if you decide, when the bear market does eventually hit, you stay and you work at it, memes are not going to go away. This is essentially a gambling market. Essentially, Solana is a gambling ecosystem. Gambling has been around since the dawn of time. It's not going away. Sol is essentially the ecosystem where that is going to happen. I don't see any reason why that won't be the case in a couple of years, given what we know today. It will always come back, and there will be more people. If you look at how many people are getting into crypto, it's growing. Every year it's growing in huge numbers. This space is still not mature by any means. There will be even a stronger market for crypto in the future, even after a bear run. So that is a bet people will take, and it may be a very profitable bet for some people, absurdly profitable. Like some people, it's hard to even wrap your head around how much money some people have made in the space. Um, Oftentimes people ask, like, what would you do if you could go back in time? Well, my answer is always 100% of the time. I'd go back to 2010. I'd get on one of those Bitcoin captcha websites, and I would just farm that for hours a day. And you would be a billionaire today if you did that.
Yeah, I agree. Crypto is it's not going anywhere, but it will keep being very volatile, of course.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, I think
I
we
think one thing they I would just put in,
yes.
like as you said about the community. I think I remember when we were like having raids, we were before we even had the raid teams helping us out and the raid comps, we were completing like as the some like 50 comments in like 50 seconds. And now we're struggling with like 10 comments and people don't do it. And I would just say it's so important that everyone actually do their part of working for the bags, because we can't survive with just a team and like maybe 10 or 15 key players in the chat. We need everyone. And I think everyone should do something, because just be there and hang around, of course you are always welcome, but like for us to be the best meme coin in the world, we need to work for it. And that's not just a team, it's everyone, and that's why we are a community. So again, people just need to put on the working gloves and work for it, because it takes you like 10 seconds maximum to comment and like with the new raid bot. You push the like what is it all the way on the right side. It does everything for you, and then you just comment and you're done. And it means a lot, because we have a couple of people that are pushing out raids, but if you use like 15 minutes for each raid, the posts will get old before we complete them. So just smash the raids and build up hype, help out each other. And if people don't know, ask, because there are some super Hegends in the chat there who will always help you out. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Community involvement. I know it's tough, guys. Like, there's months of this essentially that some people have done. I know some people bought in November when retail interest was stronger, and now they're in that summer lull. But this is basically about as you're at, almost near the point where it's about as bad as it can get when it comes to retail. Retail goes up from here essentially. The fall markets have always been strong. We're coming into that last traditionally strong period of a market cycle. Should that historically pan out as it usually has, it's always stronger. So if we can get those extra people, remember when those people are a part of the community, they too work for their bags. So it builds like a snowball essentially. The more we can get now, the better we're positioned for the next pump.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like there is, I think everybody has something they can contribute with if they want to. And I think it's important to understand that like if you have an idea about something you want to do, something you think will be fun, something that you think will help the project, if you have some talent of some kind that you want to use, just go ahead and do it.
Yep,
Because
agreed.
it's you don't even have to ask for the team's permission to do something if you want to do it. It's completely permissionless as crypto is.
Speaking of that, I want to give a shout out to 3 members of the community that I really want to shout out every time I'm on here because what they've done is amazing. One of them is Larva. He's in here right now. Larva has paid out of his own pocket with the developer 2 games for us. So if you go to that link I posted into the Headquarters chat, you can access their games. They're available now, I believe, on iOS, Android, and on the web. One of them is called, let me get the name here. I get sometimes these confused because Hegemania is another one, and that we'll talk about in a second. It is Hedge Dash, and there is Hedge Beat 'em Up. That's it. So one of them is a side scroller, a beat 'em up game, and the other one is a run platformer, I guess you could call it. So those are available now. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about. This is community created content. If you look at the biggest projects like the Bonks of the world, or the Punkies, or the Doges, there are people making these things. This is why those coins exist today, and why they will make the people in them today extremely rich in the future. Hedge can be that too. Hedge can be better than that in a way because you guys are here at that lower micro cap level. So that's really cool. Shout out to those 2 guys. So the other guy who's doing that, his name is Pixel Glow Magic. I think he goes by N in the Telegram as well. He just released the first version of his game, Headmania. Again, that can be found in that community link page that has like all our links. Super cool. I haven't had a chance to play that one, but I have played the hell out of the beat 'em up. That's my favorite game because I just love the pixel style that Larva has done for that. But shout out to these guys. Thank you so much for that kind of stuff. Real world stuff too, like what Ryan MC is doing is phenomenal. Like that, going out in the public and running that kind of activity. If you're somewhere where there's a lot of people, like on a boardwalk, on a beach, city center, that kind of stuff. Those things will get people interested. So shout out to these guys. Super, super valuable contributions. Because, when we're on X, on Reddit, it's a slog. Sometimes it can be, an echo chamber, but those things can get people outside that we wouldn't normally be even looking for crypto engaged. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think we've kind of covered most things right now that we plan to cover.
Yep. We got a question. It's from Flo. He's asking, is there any update on CEXs? So yeah, we are talking to CEXs. If you're part of the project chat, you will see that there's a lot of back and forth about where we should spend the money, how much they're asking for. As you guys know, and I've repeatedly said many times in the chat, our CEXs are they're really expensive. They ask for a lot of money. They often ask for market maker fees every month. And the reality is that almost everybody is on just the top tier ones when they actually buy our coins. So the value of these like third tier central exchanges is very debatable. They can pump the price, but not often a lot. It's usually very short term. I know, and I've made statement many times that CEXs are one of the most reliable ways to pump the hedge price. True, but it's usually very temporary. Um, People just want to see that. I understand that. So we are talking. We're trying different strategies too to work with their representatives because they contact us all the time, and these are like essentially third-party workers that try to link us up, and they take action. And sometimes we're talking about an exchange that will have just maybe hundreds of dollars of volume for hedge and $10,000 right off the bat, plus fees and listing fees and all kinds of other stuff. So we have to make sure that when we spend the project's limited money, that we don't waste it in ways where it's not really useful to the project. But yes, the answer is yes. We're always looking at CXs, but we would like to keep them either free for the small tier 2s and beyond, or minimal cost.
I also think we should, like, if anyone knows someone who can like become a whale or onboard whale, I think that also will be super bullish. If the community now starts to like chasing down new whales, because CX is great sometimes and sometimes not, because as you said, Chris, it's costs like, yeah, huge amount, and I don't know where they get their numbers from, but yeah, they think they have gold or something, and sometimes they do, and sometimes it's just for other people to make more money out of solid projects. But like, if the community now also can like try to chase down new whales, onboarding them, tell people how great we are, and that will mean 10 times a new CX, I think, in now, you know.
Yep.
Or am I wrong?
Yeah, I agree.
No, you're absolutely right. Super bullish. We just had a huge buy in the chat right now, right? It was a whale buy. So these things can pump the price, get others on board. When they see that going, more people jump in. And this is one of the realities of crypto, is that when they see people jump in and whales jump in, when they see the price pumping, the more the price pumps, the more the whales jump in. So
And also,
that,
if our volume gets up, it will be easier also to negotiate with the CXs, because if our volume is too low and we don't have so many cards to play with against the CX and all the listing agents, and yeah, 90% of them are all like, yeah, scams. I'm having fun with one of them now. So, and the last one he tried to push on me was a South African CX, and I was like, yeah, that's not for us, but for sure. And they were like asking 40K up front. So they're they're asking for so much. So I think if the community now goes together and like chase down new whales, speak in real life also to people, like try to hunt down new whales, like sending DMs to celebrities on Instagram or something, just like, yeah, do this kind of stuff, because we are community driven. So if you can manage to do that, at one point someone will join and they will talk, and then we have to show them that we are this good, and we don't just talk shit. We are this good, and we are one of the best projects out there. So, and yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. It's the community-driven stuff that has always traditionally grown Hedge. And the other argument is, of course, we're always looking at KOLs, but there's a general consensus. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
follow the project chat, there's a general consensus that the KOL scene is just extremely frustrating and probably not of much value to us. The reality is we have partnered with them in the past. So last year there was a partner with somebody called Soka Data and his team. And yeah, there were some people that did join the headquarters and said that they came through references on Soka. But the reality, again, like the exchanges, they ask a lot and offer dubious return. Um, if you pin any of the posts that Soka Data did, it's very difficult to correlate that with a hedge holder increase or a market cap pump. Um, that is debatable at best. I'll just give you an example of what some of these guys charge. Like some of them will ask for $40,000 for just a couple of tweets. Um, is that really a good value? And here's the thing: they've already essentially, number one, they have a bubble. It's not clear that the number of people on their Instagram is even real, or what percentage of them is real. It's not clear that they have any kind of credit, essentially, because here's the thing: other people have signed deals with these individuals, these crypto influencers. They're peddling maybe 20 projects at the same time. At what point have they spent their social capital on those other projects to the point where their promotions of Hedge mean very little? They're like noise in the background. My view has always been that the only influencers that really matter are the ones that have A, not promoted other coins, and B, have a social media presence they built up outside of crypto. So these are the Joe Rogans of the world, Andrew Tates of the world, the essentially the social media stars younger people are looking at. Maybe haven't necessarily been pumping other coins on the Twitch streamers, essentially, or other politicians, that kind of stuff, celebrities.
Yeah,
So we've seen them essentially, launch their own scam coins, and it did pump for a little while, right? But then they abandoned the project.
yeah, I agree. It's very difficult, this whole KOL business. It's like most are, in my opinion, a waste of money. There's just X accounts with botted followers, and it's yeah, it's just often not worth it. But that said, of course, if we could find a partnership with a good KOL that's actually an opinion leader, then that of course would be awesome, and that's something we're of course looking for all the time. But it's difficult to find that right partnership.
Yeah. So my view is community. It's really you guys. You guys are the best KOLs anybody could ever ask for. You know, you're if you another advantage of you guys is that you're not stuck to a little bubble of your own people. You guys can get on Reddits, you can get on the X, you can get on YouTube, or talk to other people in other telegrams. That's another thing that would really work. Just help people, give them financial advice. Say, look, check this project out too, and this is what we think on the markets are going to do. I actually did pull somebody in, a few people in from the Bossman channels doing that last year. So I just got on there and people are asking questions, and I didn't even try to promote Hedge. I just said, look, this is like how you get in. This is how you protect your accounts. I just gave them time and talked to them, and I asked for nothing. And some of them were like, yeah, by the way, what are you investing in? And then I had my opening, and I said, here, come to this Telegram, come to Hedge, have a look at this microcap, look at this opportunity for you to get in. This is a long-term community. Retail interest is going to grow again in the fall. That's when I had my opening, and yeah, they bought. But it's work, I know.
That's how you make money.
That's right.
So, and also the thing is like, if you think you know a guy who knows a guy, and then that guy knows a guy again, or a woman, for all that sakes, but like, just speaking about Hedge to people all over the space. Like I think that is, as you said, Chris and they, or they, both of you, like they are worth like 10 times the KOL. And if people also know someone that are kind of a KOL but hasn't, as you said, talked about another coin or something, just ask them. Could you talk about hedge? Or like if you are on YouTube, talk about hedge. And I think if someone wants to start X space or a YouTube channel where they are talking about coins or anything, and you are talking about hedge, just tell them, write it in the Telegram chat, and I think like people will come over and support you. And or I'm not just thinking, people will come and support you because we are a community. So please.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys are the best KOLs. Honestly, you're worth more than any of them. And I know there can be ways that we can probably compensate you for this too. I know Nick in particular is looking at options of compensating people who work regularly for Hedge, and that's very fair. It's a lot of work sometimes. So, propose your ideas, contact him, see what he thinks, and there could be ways of getting you some additional Hedge or some other recognition that you are looking for. So yeah, I think that covers basically everything. I'm looking through my notes here if there's anything else, but we did. So anybody who missed it earlier on, I did kind of sum up what we had been doing since our last voice chat. I don't know. Like, just let me know if you need me to do that again. Otherwise, I will probably. I don't need to stick around to do that. Let's see. Was there anything else to cover? Just checking my notes right now. We covered the 3 games. Yeah, and shout out to Larva and Pixel Glow Magic for that. Yeah, that's all I had for you guys. So just open up to questions. I'm looking through the chat right now. See if we have any other questions. Ollie says he was busy today. He's at work. Oh, Trip Danny has a question. I have a question, Chris. How come you're such a Chad? Yeah, I don't see myself as a Chad. I'm just here to help and make this project work. I want to make money too, just like the rest of you guys. Yeah, that's my thing. Cow says League of Hegends sounds so sick. Thank you, Cow. Doubles is, of course, being bullish in the chat. You can always rely on him for that. Yeah, if you're shy, you don't want to talk on the voice chat, just type your comment into headquarters, and I'll do my best to respond. But yeah, otherwise, is there any other questions? Now is the time to ask, and we will wrap it up if we don't have anything else. Hedge is typing in headquarters. I'm curious. Oh, there's one other thing I've been doing occasionally is people who were active in the past, back in December, November, whatever. I've been messaging them on Telegram occasionally just to kind of chat, see how they, what they've been up to, and tell them that we miss them from headquarters if they're not as active, just to make people feel valued. Because oftentimes some people will leave. Obviously, some people may have feeling a little bit burned by the current market, so they're just on a break, or maybe feel like their contributions to the community have gone unnoticed. So I try to my best to just reach and say, hey, I remember you're active. You did a lot of raiding, or you did a lot of Reddit, and how are you doing? And we miss you, that kind of stuff, right? Make people feel valued. Larva asks, is anyone hyped for the upcoming altcoin season? Yeah, I am super hyped. Like, for me, this is it. Like, the next few months is the make or break time. And I've been thinking about this moment since at least 2022. So for years now, I knew even then, like after seeing the rise of the first major meme coins to break out, like Doge and Shiba Inu, I knew like the next market cycle is going to have these projects. It was at that point when I realized the whole idea of the altcoin utility was probably just a marketing strategy for nerds. And obviously Shiba Inu, if you bought $100 worth of Shiba Inu in December of 2020, held through the bull, you'd have something like $16 million from it. So I knew, obviously, this can work. It can happen. You just need to find something strong. And what is that? It's community. It's all about community. And that we have community. We have community. Look at here's another guy just posted in the chat. His name is Nijat. He does animations. He's always doing stuff, and he doesn't ask for money. This guy, he will post stuff. He has a program. It's the same program they use for animating movies. What's it called? Secret of the Kells, that studio. Wolf Waters, same professional software. He comes up with all kinds of stuff for us. We have paid him in the past. Sometimes he does it for free. A lot of our stickers come from him, so shout out to Najat for that. But yeah, community is it. So that's all I have for you guys. Is anybody else excited? Do you guys have any thoughts on the upcoming fall market? What are your strategies? What are you thinking of buying? Are you going to DCA in, for the summer? Are you going to switch that to DCA out? Like, what are your thoughts? I'm always curious to see what the people want to do. So your animation, Nijat. I see you're here in the headquarters chat. Is that okay? That's coins coming down. I wasn't sure. It looks like rice pellets to me, but I get what you're trying to do. It's cool. It's a cool shot.
It's corn, bro.
I'm sorry. Thank you for that. That's awesome. You know what? I think I can maybe turn that into a sticker. Hedge Knight says, thanks again, Chris. Missed the chat, but loved League of Hegens. Aw, thank you, Hedge Knight. Cool. Yeah. So that's all I have. I think we're gonna leave it here. One last opportunity for anybody. Don't be shy. Ask a question. Make a comment. When is the new VC? Flo is asking, when is the new chat? I don't know. We should make it more regular. I would love to see that. Thank you, Dave, for joining today. You've been really great for this.
Thank you.
JB is always special for that too.
Yeah, I do agree. We should try to have VCs more often, because I think it's nice for the community.
Yep, agree. Okay, guys. Oh, somebody dropped Sticker Day. Look at that. Plato the Great has been posting stickers all over the place. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. Having people, throwing out those stickers. We had some in Rome last week. Really cool. So you have a picture of the Flavian Amphitheater, and in front there were some stickers. So super cool. He's a shoo-in for winning that contest, but I'm sure we can get like a sticker slapped on Statue of Liberty or something. Super cool, or anywhere else. Now, there's a lot of awesome places that you could get these stickers in. Flo has changed his icon to his new League of Legends icon. That's cool. Yep, no worries. Okay, guys, I think that's it for today.
Thank you for hosting the call, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Day.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.